My creation. My runaway brain creation. Look at it. Now run away, creation. Run away. Runaway Brain was released August 11th, 1995. It is a short film that was attached to a feature film called A Kid in King Arthur's Court, and internationally in front of a Goofy movie. The former, you probably haven't even heard of, and neither have I. Let's continue. So this short originally was going to air in front of the 101 Dalmatians, the live-action film, which, by the way, is a great film. It was pulled last minute to be replaced with these trailers. I don't know. Money. And also, some of these films were for younger audiences, and genuinely, it would have terrified them, I think.
We wanted to make a scary cartoon because we wanted to do a tie-in with this merchandising campaign called Mickey Boo. B-O-O, like Boo Scare.
So this was the first traditionally animated Mickey Mouse theatrical short to be produced using digital ink and paint, as opposed to traditionally hand-painted cell animation. And most of the animation for this was produced at Walt Disney Animation France, SA, which means this is also the last cartoon, Mickey Mouse cartoon, to be entirely animated. And so let's give it a sec to say our prayers. So after Mickey starred in The Prince and the Pauper, it didn't do so hot, mostly because of the movie it was attached to. So they wanted to do something a little different for the rat. The director of this short, Chris Bailey, said, quote,
like a lot of people, animators that went into story and direction, they found themselves in development. At one point, the assignment of developing Mickey cartoons would fall in their lap. The studio couldn't really decide who Mickey was. If we were going to make Mickey relevant today, who is he?
So Bailey and the studio president at the time of Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberg, does that ring a bell? With Mickey and Donald heading on a vacation, and Donald attempting to kill Mickey, but it failed. And Roy Disney told him to develop Runaway Brain instead.
And I decided to repurpose that cartoon with Mickey and Donald. But when we screened it for Jeffrey, it just kind of went, not really. I don't get it. And Roy said, yeah, great. Yeah, we can make that one. It's just, I actually had a studio that was available to make it, and animators sitting idle.
And during the development of this short, Katzenberg, he left Disney for reasons, leaving Bailey because, you know, they were pretty buddy. And while the first test screening of this short was a success, the executives wanted a lot of changes.
Remember Michael Eisner saying, well, that was a setup if I ever saw one. The next day, they were just emasculating the cartoon, chasing Minnie in the bikini store that had to go, and
shit like not having Mickey drooling, some electrocution parts. There's a lot of evil, dark stuff, which we'll go over. And the cast here is very small, but it is A tier, and we'll go through them as we get to them. So let us begin. All right, the fucking open shot classic. It's even got the little grain to it. Woof, Mickey Mouse in... Well, this is a shot. Runaway Brain. You know, we don't really get many like horror Disney shorts, but when they do, you know, they're a treasure. The Mickey house, there's nothing unusual going on here. It doesn't seem like Toontown, but considering this was going to be in front of a Goofy movie, let's just go with Spoonerville. Though I did want to note Pluto does live in an igloo. Here, immediately inside, we got Michael playing on the fucking Sega, I think it's a Mega Drive, which I had to assume is a reference to all of his Sega games in the past, because, you know, those ones were gas. I found a couple games. I couldn't find Castle of Illusions, but we found the Fantasia game for the Genesis. Shout out for this game. This was a banger. The only other Disney game I could find was Little Mermaid. But hey, you know, that's something. Also, the game he's playing, I think, is Snow White Mortal Kombat. There's Dopey fighting the Peddler Queen. It's crazy. They'd never do it today. The director, Chris Bailey, said that this was a Katzenberg idea and that Bailey came up with the fighting game after his idea of like a first-person shooter based on Bambi. It was rejected. Of course, Minnie, being like the wife, is upset that he's addicted to video games. Forgot it's their first date anniversary. It's the typical stuff, really.
Minnie, you're trying to get me killed?
Maybe. Well, from now on, you can date your stupid video game.
So, bro panics. He sees the first ad that his peepers land on, and which is Mini Golf, a Disney classic. and she says,
Blue skies, waterfalls for 18 glorious.
Days in Hawaii.
you didn't think it out too well, you'll need moolah to hula. I paused to write that line down, and look what I paused on. 3 things wrong with this image. Comment below. Pluto, remember him, conveniently gives Mickey another ad next to the old one.
Earn $999.99 for a mindless day's work.
Oh boy! So Dr. Frank and Ollie, I have to assume this is a reference to Frank and Ollie, who are part of the iconic 9 Old Men, which that's a whole topic for another day. But it's a cute mashup for Frankenstein. I did want to note that Wayne Allwine, the best voice of Mickey, continued to voice Michael in cameos and small things after this, but this would be his last time voicing Mickey in a theatrical short. And also, while we are here, Minnie is voiced by Russie Taylor. They were such a cute couple. And while not too important in the short, Bill Farmer is Pluto, who still voices him today. A little nice Exorcist reference here. Speed things up here. He rings the doorbell, and there's like a quick blink and you miss it Zazu cameo here. And we will see him later on. Just remember that. So Michael falls into the floor portal, which while we're here, there is a note here that does say JK, which has to be a reference to Jeffrey Katzenberg, who did leave the production, of course, early on. So I wanted to assume they'd want to put him in the short somehow, you know?
There's a pink slip that flies through with JK on it.
Who is responsible for that, Dave?
So he lands onto a chair that locks. Spooky already. We get introduced to a new character here. Of course, Frank and Ollie, a monkey. A theory here was that when the film was being pitched, they originally had Professor X from the comic strip of the Blackguard Castle, who was also a monkey, but I guess the studio executives didn't go for it and they wanted a new monkey. And they wanted Kelsey Grammer to voice him. Simple as that.
It's an adventure!
I hate adventure.
Perfect! You're hired! Let me introduce your co-worker. I made him myself.
I want to introduce to you guys the spawn of nightmares, and that is Julius. Julius Pete. He was introduced here, but I know him as the scary boss from Kingdom Hearts that spawned in the middle of town and made me quit the game and throw my 3DS as a child. So we're doing a little bit of a brain swap here. I'm not really sure how we got here.
Julius, baby! Daddy's found you a brand new brain.
It's a little cursed. It's also a target on Mickey. Is crazy to me. Do it again, Disney. Gets a little lightning on him. It's kind of graphic, but believe it or not, they'd had to tone it down a little bit more because I guess it was too graphic.
Oh, I don't feel like myself. Oh my gosh.
I'm not myself.
Also, him disintegrating would never get pulled off today. This whole stuff kind of reminds me of the whole Mad Doctor shorts from like those early concepts, which I guarantee you has got to be where the horror has been pulled from. So it's the same concept of the Mad Doctor ones, like those. You guys know what I'm talking about? And now I present to you Savage Mickey. His design, I think, is flawless, and I really wish they would use him for more things.
And I did this drawing of a crazy Mickey with sharp teeth and fangs and ratted hair and crazy bloodshot eyes. And Tim came in and he said, "Hey, this is funny. What's the story here?"
He tries reasoning with Julius, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, Julius is voiced by Jim Cummings. When you think he's not in it, he sneaks in. This is Winnie the Pooh. He tells him to check his wallet because he's the Mickey Mouse.
Ah, that's old. Huh.
Write it down here as his social.
Next to my girlfriend, Minnie. And she likes my body.
Why does he gotta say it like that? Now he's off to steal his girl. Michael never learns. The bro's already fiending. He immediately finds Minnie at the wet rat. It's the lower species. Here's another image I paused it on. It's a little strange, huh? Which I don't know if her ass was supposed to knock over these clothes, because like it doesn't connect. Like maybe it must have been the wind, or maybe it was another fix they had to change. We'll never know.
What would Mickey think?
Disney, you don't have to do this one again, though. Why? Speak of the devil.
Not till we're on the boat.
So Monster Mickey shows up to stop Julius, and she freaks out and runs with Julius Mickey. It doesn't take too much convincing to change her mind. just some face shifting. So there's a monster on a building reference later. They fall off it. They get shocked. Really strong power lines that switch the brains back, strong enough to launch them back onto the roof again. Hell yeah, Hawaii. And here's our second Zazu pick of the short. I'm assuming he's in here for two reasons. One, The Lion King came out the year before and was a massive hit. And two, one of the animators also worked on this short, specifically the one that animated Scar. So Mickey does a little bit for this climax that gets him tossed overboard. Then he comes back for a vengeance on the window high-rise. How convenient, so badass.
Hey, Julius! Let her go!
I feel like the gun sounds are kind of what did it for it to be pulled, you know? Like, do you think they regret putting it in now? I don't know, I think they should do it again. Some acrobats later, he shows off a little too much. But Minnie's butt here hits him off, so it's got to be an animation mistake from before. Some mice feet later, I had to see it first. So much for Hawaii. Pete's not beating the allegations, and that's Runaway Brain. It's not so bad now, is it? Why would they pull this one? There hasn't really been like home releases of this besides some old volume collections internationally. There is a Super 8 version of it, but I don't know where it's at. I figure we end with some reviews of this masterpiece since I kind of gotten everything in the short. Starting with Hitchcock. This is one-dimensional, following 1,000 other similar cartoons. You could substitute any character for Mickey and pull off the same thing. Just lots low common denominator stuff with Mickey having his brain stolen and put in a giant Pete's head. Number 2, San Franciscan said, when I actually had the chance to see this bizarre cartoon, I had one immediate reaction. Whoa. It's difficult to describe my reaction to this one apart from that one word. It's usually easy to comment on things I've seen, especially since I have a rep for stating my most precise, honest feelings on any subject you'd care to hand me and making myself perfectly clear. But this is one of those rare things I've ever seen, which has put me at a complete loss for words. This cartoon is easily the weirdest Mickey Mouse cartoon ever made. It made me feel strange for the longest time after seeing it with my reaction of, what on earth was that? And finally, Cohelm at Al 2009 said, Runaway Brain gave me nightmares after seeing it, and that breaks me. Mickey wanted to switching brains with a psychopath, and lying to Minnie gives him the worst character personality ever. This is probably the worst short I've ever seen, and I can see why Disney tried to hide it. Believe me, I would have done the same if I was Michael Eisner back then. Also, this short premiered before the Disney classic A Kid in King Arthur's Court. I don't think I can ever look at Mickey and Friends ever again. Also, I don't know why such a disturbing short like this gets nominated for Best Animated Short. In conclusion, this is the worst short I've ever seen, 1 out of 10. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that it was nominated for the Best Short Film, but it lost to Wallace and Gromit. I'll see you next time.
You know, I mean, I remember getting some mail at the studio, and you know, it would be, this cartoon scared my 3-year-old. Disney shouldn't make cartoons like this again. And then I would get, wow, this is the coolest Mickey cartoon I've ever seen. And I've still saved all those.